Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So my social media links will be provided in this episode along with my Substack, my email, and to add on, buy me a coffee. You enjoy my content, the link, feel free to click on that link, buy me a coffee, and support. So audio platforms, I'm on Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Overcast, Pocket Cast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and I'm definitely looking to grow to wherever you enjoy your podcast, I'm on that. So this episode is about the musical artist I think relate to Bob Dylan. So I'm going to be talking about Tom Petty, David Bowie, and The Clash. Alright, so let's get into it and dive in. Okay, so Tom Petty, David Bowie, and The Clash. And I'm going to add on to that particularly with Huey Lewis in the News and Jacob's Ladder. I think it's very interesting to have a song like that. That it's a testament to the 80s, how it was prevalent to dig in depth. Even it was even in the pop music spectrum or industry, there is to talk about honest things. With Jacob's Ladder, the storytelling within that, saying the struggles with, as far as with sin and holding on to hope, with the Jacob's Ladder, with the biblical reference to that, with angels ascending and descending and coming down into Jacob's vision, that there he is of worthy and honor, and then God is still with him. It's really something to say about that. And moving on to the aspects of what I'm talking about, which I think links to the artist that I am highlighting in this episode. So Tom Petty, even though he was a popular artist, his music was in the realm of folk music, within talking about, yes, baby, within talking about things from an honest perspective, from a more of just a down to earth perspective, where it be talking about love, where it be talking about the ideas of wandering and the ideas of standing your ground and finding your way in society, where it be talking about the reality of situation of drug abuse, where it be talking about the ideas of heartbreak and loss, all of these things. And Bob Dylan, he was speaking on these things from a poetic point of view, and I think it helped to transcend the notion of what folk music is, to where people are more centered in the idea of how he's bringing the artistic idea of speaking of the things on humanity with literature, where it be with poetry and through music. And The Clash, even though some people reign them as more punk than, say, the Sex Pistol, which is very interesting. It just is a testament to, though they were speaking against traditional culture and, uprooting and talk and addressing counterculture, they were still focusing in on everything that faces humans and the human spirit in general. For instance, talking about things in the supermarket, things that you see and you notice that you want, and how people behave in the supermarket. It's really something to talk about and to think about. To just strip down something so simple, or everyday chore that you do, but going to depth within that about from my point of view, about the psyche of people going to the supermarket. Why are they going, and observing people in the supermarket and the things that they do. And to end my thoughts with David Bowie, some people say that he was just a performer, not particularly a musician. But I think within that, I think those two ideas can merge together to make a musician. And his storytelling within his music is something to people just still talk about, the way that he transformed the music industry, and then him addressing issues about being young. Okay, to add on and wrap up and finish what I was saying about David Bowie, even though with the ideas of talking on things of modern love, for instance, like it's saying with tradition, and there is something to say, making notice and commentary on that, and the struggles that is within that, trying to hold on the ideas of being in love and wanting to marry, but going and trying to figure your sense of self within society, saying, well, it's okay to live together, never get married, and it's okay to have a different opinion about things. And you still think, I think it's still okay to be traditional in this aspect. And that's really something to say, because you wouldn't expect someone of his stature to bring awareness to these things, but he did. All right, so let's get into more depth about these singers. All right, so Lost in a Supermarket by The Clash. Now I'm using song facts, and I will store all those, place all my cited sources on Substack on Friday. I like to use song facts, and I think that they take the time to break everything down and speak about musicians, and particularly with music, and a way that is not just a traditional cut and dry method of talking about music. And that's why I like referencing and using them for my sources. And I really appreciate how they take the time to do what they're doing. All right, so even in 1979, musicians were the going towards the increased commercialization and information overload that was prevailing society. This is all apparent in this song. Joe Strummer of The Clash wrote the lyrics and Mick Jones sang the lead. In the DVD making of London Calling, The Last Testament, which came with the 25th anniversary edition of the album, Strummer said he wrote the lyrics imagining Jones' life growing up in a basement with his mother and grandmother. Interestingly, it also includes personal references to his own life growing up in a heavily suburban, middle-class family. So, go on to say, Lost in the Supermarket was first conceived and written in an actual supermarket under the block of flat Joe Strummer was living in the flats of Joe Strummer, which he was living in at the time with his girlfriend, Gabby Salter. While it was too small for Strummer to literally get lost in the supermarket, he did note in a 1999 interview that the song occurred to me as I stumbled around, dazed by the color and the lights. This would certainly explain the heavy themes of commercialism in the lyrics. As it's quoted, I'm all tuned in. I see all the programs. I save coupons from package of tea. Although the multi-layered production of the record, including layer funk bassline from Paul Simon, made the studio track a lush piece, it made the song difficult to play live, and only a few handful of performances and exits from the few times they played it in 1983. And again, it highlights the skill that someone has or a group of people have of taking something as simple and some people, and it can be mundane, going to the grocery store and giving it formality to where it's interesting. And then also commenting on the commercialization of everything in which we live in and the oversaturation of things, of products that we consume and everything, and what we like versus what we don't like, and all of these things. And also, I think it begs the question of the importance of advertising in a modern society, and if it actually works or not, and the whole conspiracy within advertising and the gimmicks that it uses it off or not, or does it really mean something? And I think from a personal point of view I think that advertisement serves, well, I have a different perspective about it because I grew up at the time, and particularly in the 90s, where with advertisement, it was, when you would watch commercials, it was worth watching. But, things can be taken too far with commercials, and, the oversaturation is a real reality. And I think it gets even worse when we see all the commercials, particularly the medical advertising. And, that should be something that is consulted with your doctor and the doctor's office between the two patients, and that should be a private matter. That shouldn't be a thing where the mass consumption be seen through TV. And then also along the lines of, hush, baby. Also along the lines of adding on to this with education and college and marketing, but that's really strange to me, because an education should speak for itself and it shouldn't be advertised. And, it's something to say and think about that. And also, there is movement and beauty in advertising. For instance, St. Jude's with advertising and speaking on the things that they do, Make-A-Wish Foundation, the list goes on. And I think it's really neat in the gimmicks that advertisers do, particularly with household products, for cleaning products, things for food and that nature. And it's really something to think about. All right, so let's talk about more on these artists. All right, Modern Love. David Bowie, the late and great. This is about the struggle to find solace in love and religion. It has also been suggested this song contemplates the old adage, the more things change, the more they stay the same, explaining how he remained a force in pop music for so many years. Bowie sings, this is quoted, "It's not really work, it's just a power to charm." Bowie said this song, called in response vocal arrangement, all comes from Little Richard. A defining moment in Bowie's childhood was when his dad came home with a copy of Tutti Frutti. This sounds very similar to Elton John's I'm Still Standing. They were both recording around the same time, and Bowie nor John were aware of each other's song. In 1987, Bowie re-recorded this with Tina Turner for a Pepsi commercial where he plays a scientist who creates the perfect woman, Turner, with the late Turner, that is, Tina Turner, with a little help from Pepsi. The storyline is cribbed from the 1985 movie Weird Science. Go on to say Stevie Ray Vaughan played guitar on this track. Bowie asked him to play on the Let's Dance album after seeing him perform at a music festival. Kenny Loggins modified the drum groove from this track for Footloose. And it also plays up to the terms of the impact of advertising, particularly with music, and how Pepsi in the 80s and the 90s and stopping around the 2000 or so, re-picking back up now, of highlighting and showcasing particular artists and bringing that to the masses with their music. There's really something to say about that. All right, so there you go. And let's end and talk about the late and wonderful Tom Petty. Now, I heard Won't Back Down when I was a child growing up in Houston. Then hearing it again on 106.9 The Eagle when I was a teenager, using this song as a means of motivation for children during the time, pledging support and everything for St. Jude's with children struggling and with childhood cancer, and bringing awareness to this. It's really something to say about the power of this song and how the tenacity and the idea behind it of standing your grounds amidst something when it gives you every notion to back down, but you won't because you know what's right. It's really something to say about it. So, here we go, and I'm quoting from Song Facts. Before recording Full Moon Fever, and arsonists burned down Tom Petty's house while he was in it with his family and their housekeeper. They escaped, but Petty was badly shaken and spent much of the next few months driving between hotel rooms and a rented house. It was on these drives that he came up with many of the songs for the album. The fire was a huge influence, especially on this song. Petty felt grateful to be alive, but also traumatized. Understandable, considering someone had tried to kill him. I Won't Back Down was his way of reclaiming his life and getting past the torment. He said that writing and recording the song had a calming effect on him. The arsonist was never caught, which made Petty's plight even more challenging. As for motive, there was no direct connection made, but 11 days earlier, Petty won a lawsuit against the B.F. Goodrich Tire Company for $1 million. Goodrich wanted to use Petty's song, Mary's New Car, in a TV commercial, and when he wouldn't let them, their advertising agency commissioned a copycat song that the jingle felt was too similar. This was the first single from Full Moon Fever, which was co-produced and co-written by Jeff Lynne. Petty and Lynne worked on the album at Mike Campbell's house. As a guitarist for the Heartbreakers, bless you baby, Campbell has written and produced many songs with Petty. Many fans have felt a connection with this song. The one that most strangers come up and tell me about it is I Won't Back Down, Petty told Mojo. So many people tell me it meant something in their lives. Predictably, politicians often played this song at campaign stops to indicate their resilience. When George W. Bush used it during the 2000 presidential campaign, Petty threatened to sue as he found Bush odious. Bush stopped using the song. Guess he did back down at that point. But needless to say, won the election, which was decided when Petty's home state of Florida went to Bush by a very slim margin. The night Bush opponent, Al Gore, conceded the election, December 13th of 2000, Petty played the song for him at Gore's home. After President Trump used I Won't Back Down at a highly publicized campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on June 20th, 2020, Petty's widow, Diana, ex-wife Jane, and daughters Adriana and Akeem, I believe the pronunciation of that, used a statement making it clear they did not approve. Both the late Tom Petty and his family firmly stand against racism and discrimination of any kind, they wrote. Tom Petty would never want a song of his used for a campaign of hate. He liked to bring people together. Tom wrote the song for the underdog, for the common man, and for everyone. Heartbreakers keyboarder player Ben Matrink agreed, posting, I in no way approve of Trump even whistling any piece of the music associated with our band. Petty's family joined REM, Elton John, and several others in opposing Trump's use of their song, but legally there is nothing they can do to stop him as long as the venues have the proper licensing. These statements are more about going on the record to oppose a politician. Again, and It's unfortunate. Trump is just an appreciation of this song and being blinded by the ideas and say he's against us, he's not for us. It's a shame because it's remnant of going along the lines of what I was speaking about, the weavers of mass hysteria, and then within the ideas of that and the lace of that with propaganda, having this left view of the world without actually seeing things for what it is. And it's unfortunate that people like to say all these things about Trump when he hasn't, is, as he quoted, false news. And most of the time, it's just not really all of the time, but it's out of context. And not understanding that journalism isn't what it used to be, that there are agendas to things and presenting things in the media. And it's really unfortunate that particularly politics can't breed the welcome ideas of seeing everybody's viewpoint and talking and sharing things from a calm, elevated point of view instead of attacking or thinking someone some way without really understanding and seeing the truth of the matter and digging deeper into things and seeing everything for what it is really unfortunate. So, wrapping this up, Petty played this on September 21st, 2001 as a part of a television to benefit the victims of terrorism attacks on America. Celebrities at the event included Julia Roberts, Tom Hanks, Bruce Springsteen, and Tom Cruise. Almost 60 million people watched the special in the U.S. In response to being used as a patriotic anthem, "Hush, babies!" After September 11th, Petty said, "The song has also been adopted by nice people for good things, too. I just write them. I can't control where it ends up." This was one of 4 songs Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers played at the halftime show of the Super Bowl in 2008. The others were American Girl, Running Down a Dream, and Free Falling. Petty recalled the recording of the song to Mojo magazine in January 2010. At the session, George Harrison sang and played the guitar. "I had a terrible cold that day, and George sent to the store and bought a ginger root, boiled it, and had me stick my head in a pot to get the ginger steam to open my sinus, and then I ran and did the tape." Tom Petty died on October 2nd, 2017, the day after a mass shooting at the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas that killed 58. On October 7th, Jason Aldean, who was on stage during the shooting, opened Saturday Night Live with a performance of this song, which served as both a tribute to Petty and a call for togetherness. "When America is at its best, our bond in our spirit is unbreakable," he said before playing it. When the shooting took place, Aldean was performing When She Says Baby, which was inspired by Tom Petty's Here Comes My Girl. In February 2023, a version of I Won't Back Down featuring Blake Shelton, Joe Walsh, Timothy B. Schmidt, and Matt Sherman was posted online to benefit the Miracles Love Kids organization, which supports girls and young women in Afghanistan. with a focus on music. The song and video feature girls that were relocated to Pakistan with help from the organization. Alright, so this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. And of course, questions, comments, concerns is greatly appreciated. Tune in, turn up, and definitely take care. Bye-bye now.